Most people fear silence, not because it is empty, but because it remembers who they are. We live in a world that never stops speaking. Screens glow, notifications whisper, crowds roar, and yet, beneath all that noise, there is a quieter truth we spend our lives avoiding. This is the story of a man who tried to outrun silence and discovered it was the only thing that could save him. By every visible measure, Arav was successful. A sharp mind, a respected career, a life always in motion. But motion was his refuge. He filled his days with sound, meetings, voices, music playing even when no one listened. At night, he slept with the television glowing, as if darkness itself might ask him questions. What Arav never admitted, not even to himself, was that silence made his chest tighten, because silence had a habit of asking, "Is this all you are?" One evening, after another long day that felt strangely unfinished, Arav found an old letter tucked inside a book he didn't remember buying. It contained only one sentence, written in a trembling hand. "When the noise grows unbearable, walk toward the quiet." No name, no explanation. Something in him stirred. 3 days later, Arav packed a small bag and left the city before sunrise, without telling anyone where he was going. Arav arrived at a remote mountain valley, where the air felt older than memory. No signal, no crowds, no mirrors, only wind brushing through tall grass, and a narrow stone path winding upward. At the end of that path stood a small monastery, built not to impress, but to endure. An elderly monk greeted him with a nod, not a question, as if Arav's arrival had been expected for centuries. "You may stay," the monk said gently, "but you must learn to listen." Days passed without clocks. Meals were simple, words were few. At first, the silence felt unbearable. Arav's thoughts screamed louder than any city. Regrets surfaced, unspoken grief, a quiet shame he had buried beneath achievement. He nearly left, but on the 7th morning, something changed. While sitting alone by a mountain stream, Arav noticed the water did not hurry, yet it reached everywhere it needed to go. For the first time in years, his breath slowed without effort. That evening, the elderly monk finally spoke again. "Why do you fear silence?" he asked. Arav opened his mouth to answer, but no sound came out. Tears surprised him, because in the stillness, he remembered something he had forgotten. Years ago, before the career, before the rush, Arav had loved to sit beside his mother in quiet evenings. She spoke little, but her presence felt complete. When she passed away, the house grew silent for the first time, and Arav had mistaken that silence for loss. So he filled it. The monk nodded, as if hearing an echo. "Silence did not take her from you," he said softly. "It is the place she still waits." That night, Arav sat alone under the stars. No music, no thoughts to chase away. And in that stillness, he felt something he hadn't felt since childhood. Not happiness, but wholeness. When Arav left the monastery, the monk gave him nothing. No teachings, no rules, only a smile. Back in the city, the noise returned. But something within Arav had changed. He no longer feared quiet moments. He welcomed them. He turned off unnecessary sounds. He listened more than he spoke. And sometimes, in the middle of crowded streets, he felt the same stillness he had found on the mountain. Because silence, he learned, is not the absence of life. It is the space where life finally speaks. Silence is not empty. It is where the soul stops running and remembers where it belongs.